Hi, boys and girls. Yesterday, when I got home from KMS, I checked the mail and I found one of my teaching magazines in there. So I curled up in front of the fire and I did a ton of reading. And one of the articles got me to thinking about you. So I brought it into school today and I wanted to share part of it with you. It says, breaking news about second grade readers. Researchers report because the books second graders read are much longer than those read by younger readers, second grade readers face a new risk. As second grade readers read, there is a clear risk that they can lose the storyline. Well, second graders, I read that over and over again, and I had to think about it. Is it true that we're reading books that are much longer than the books we've read months ago? So when I came into work this morning, I went on the bookshelf and I pulled down Katie Woo Has the Flu. Remember we read this one? And I started flipping through just to take a look at how many pages were in the book and how many words were on each page. And then I took a peek through the book that we're going to look at today. It's called Minnie and Moo Go Dancing. And when I looked through that book, I noticed that those researchers were right. This book had so many more pages, and there are a ton of words on each page. And guess what, boys and girls? By the end of the year, some of you might be reading books that look like this. This is The Mouse and the Motorcycle. Wow. Look at how long this story is. So today I want to teach you that when books get longer, it's easy to lose track of the story, sometimes without even realizing it. So it helps to have strategies to help you hold on to the whole story, even when it gets long and complicated. Have you ever been reading along, la-di-da-di-da, and all is well, and then for some reason you lose your place? So you go back through the book and all of the pages are unfamiliar to you. And you think, did I even read any of this? Even though you know you did. You might realize your eyes were looking at the words and your mouth was saying the words, but you weren't really holding on to the story. I bet some of you are nodding your head yes right now. I know it's happened to me. It's probably happened to your teachers. When a book keeps going and going, it can sometimes be hard to find a stopping place. So you just keep reading, right? Here's the most important tip I can give you. Don't do that. When books are long and complicated, you need to talk about the books and think about the books and even write about the books. And because of social distancing this year, talking about books with a reading partner in class is kind of tricky. But when you're reading at home during your reading time, you might have a friend or a family member or even a stuffed animal that you can talk to your books about. You always have yourself. Yeah, it's true. You can be your own reading partner, stopping and talking to yourself as you're reading a book to make sure that you're keeping track of it and you're understanding it. So I'm going to show you what that might look like right now. I have the book here, Minnie and Moo Go Dancing. I'm going to give you a minute just to study that front cover. Get your mind ready. And as I'm reading the first chapter of this, I want you to study how I use self-talk as I'm reading to hold on to the storyline. Okay? Minnie and Moo Go Dancing. So chapter 1 is called The First Wish. A soft wind settled in the trees. Minnie and Moo sat quietly. The sky turned pink. It turned orange and red. And then the sun was gone. Minnie clapped. Lovely, she said. Just lovely. Said Moo. That was the best sunset of the summer. I'm going to give it a 10, said Minnie. She wrote 10 on her scorecard. What did you give it, Moo? What? Moo said. Your score. Tonight's sunset. Sunset? Said Moo. Minnie sighed. She put her scorecard down. I'm getting a little confused here. Scorecard and a sunset. I don't understand why she's writing the number 10 on her paper. What could I do to figure that out? I think I need to reread this part. Let me see. That was the best sunset of the summer. I'm going to give it a 10, said Minnie. She wrote 10 on her scorecard. What did you give it, Moo? What? Moo said. Your score, tonight's sunset. Sunset? Said Moo. Minnie sighed. She put her scorecard down. Oh, I get it. I think what's happening here is they're scoring the sunset the way like a figure skater would be scored in the Olympics. And I think 10 is probably the highest score you can get. But man, Moo, he's not really paying attention here. Moo's mind is somewhere else, kind of distracted. All right, so now that I figured that out, I'm going to keep reading. Moo, are you thinking again? A small think, said Moo. She looked into the twilight. I was thinking... Oh, said Minnie. There's the first star. Let's make a wish, Moo. You first. Moo closed her eyes. Thumbs, she said. I wish for a nice pair of thumbs. Ooh, so the end of the chapter, that's a good place to stop and kind of do some self-talk and make sure that I'm holding on to the storyline. So the characters are Minnie and Moo, and they're watching the sunset and giving it a score, but Moo's not really paying attention to the sunset. Moo's mind is somewhere else. And the two cows then decide that they're going to make a wish. So when they see this star, Moo makes a wish for a pair of thumbs, but gosh, I don't know why. Why would she wish for thumbs? Maybe in the next chapter we'll find that out. So, boys and girls, did you see what I did right there? I was reading this longer book all by myself, but I can be my own reading partner, and I was. When things got confusing, I stopped and I asked myself some questions, and then I figured out the answer all by myself. I did some rereading. I did some thinking out loud and talking out loud about how the characters were acting and what they were doing. So understanding longer books and keeping track of the storyline is easier when you stop after a couple of pages or at the end of a chapter and talk about the story, even if you're talking to yourself. So today and every day when you go off to read, if you're reading with a partner, stop and talk about it. Make sure you're holding on to that storyline. If you're reading by yourself, stop and talk about it with yourself to make sure you're holding on to the storyline.